Good morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grubb here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering natural health on your Wednesday morning Rise and Shine. Natural health that we're looking at this morning here as we look at this topic dealing with stress. So we're going to be talking about some natural ways dealing with stress naturally, some natural ways to deal with stress. As you know, you and I face stress from various different ways or different aspects in our lives. And at this time we're living in, there's a lot of stress that are going around. And so we want to know how best to deal with stress and how to gain a victory or maintain a balance in times when there is not much hope for that, or there's a feeling that there's so many problems that are going on in our society. So we're going to look at how to deal with stress from various different aspects of life and to talk about some coping mechanism as we go on in this morning talk program. So again, welcome to our live talk program. Hopefully you had a blessed night rest and you're ready to take on today. And that there goes one of your first solution for stress, getting some rest. And so welcome and let us pray. We thank you, Lord, again for your love towards us. We thank you, dear Father, for blessing us in spite of our choices, in spite of, dear Lord, the lifestyles that we choose to live, that you seek to bless and to save. May it be with us, dear Lord, as we study these things for our peace and our salvation. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So we're looking here at some natural ways to deal with stress. We're going to talk about various different ways to deal, to cope, to function better. And that's the most that we can do. Just try to function better in times of stress. And as you know, stress is something that is just always ongoing. There's always a reason to be stressed out, but there's sometimes in life that the stress comes harder and it's just more. And the more it is the more you have to know to cope, and the more you have to know to try to survive. And that's all we're trying to do here, just survive. You have to go into survival mode. And that's sometimes the best you can do. And so this is what we want to do here this morning. So we're going to talk about stress and talk about some natural way to deal with stress and from where stress comes from and how to handle it in various aspects of your life. Now we begin, and I'm going to start by reading this Bible passage, and then I'll end by reading this Bible passage. So I'll start there and I'll end there. So we want to be able to start out this way. I want to be able to end this way. So in this Bible passage here, it's found in Psalms chapter 37, verse 1 through 9. So Psalms 37, verse 1 through 9 is our Bible passage for this morning here, if you're looking in your Bibles here with me. And this is a Bible passage of scripture that does deal with the realities of stress and where it comes from and how you have to kind of put this in your mind and deal with this mentally. So Psalms again, chapter 37, verse 1 through 9. Here, this is a psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy ways unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prosper in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. So there's some cues right there in this passage of scripture that gives us some of what we need when it comes on to dealing with stress. And so, as I say, I'll come back to that later, but I'll just talk about some of the cues here before I move on to the body of what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes you can fret. Fret is similar to worry. You worry about what's happening in this world. You worry about what evildoers are doing from various aspects of life, and it can cause you stress because some of their evil is coming your way. And yet the Bible tells us, don't worry about that. There's cause and effect. There's a balancing act that goes on in life, and some of it is so vicious that when you see the results of it, it makes you even scared, and you can't fret over those things. But don't worry about it. You just basically, the Bible says, just keep living, and don't live your life where you're worrying about evildoers and what evildoers are doing, or they're going to do, and especially they're going to do to you. You still have to live your life, and whatever befalls you, befalls you. Neither thou be envious of the workers of iniquity. You see people who are stuck in their sin, doing all kind of stuff, and you might get envious because they seem to be prospering, but this is not the way how it goes long term. It might be this way today, but it's not going to be that way forever. And so evildoers normally tend to stress you out and stress me out. And then the Bible says, hey, look, I'm going to tell you what to do. Don't be worried about these evildoers and what they do and what they're trying to do, because that's how they do. And just let them do. Why? It says, for they shall be soon cut down like the grass, mowed down, and wither as the green herb. This is the reality of life. Cut like the grass and mowed down like green herbs. This is the reality, sad reality, but this is part of the reality of life that we deal with. And so that's what the Bible says. Hey, don't stress yourself. Don't get yourself all caught up and worrying about what they're doing. Think about all the evildoers that you have known in your life and I've known, and they're not here anymore. Mow down. And it says, trust in the Lord and do good, and thou shalt dwell in the land. Delight thyself in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. So while others are stressing out, just enjoy yourself. Just go out there and just don't do wickedness. Don't enjoy yourself by doing evil. Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy your food, your family, the activities you do, and just go ahead and keep living. Commit thy ways to the Lord, and trust in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth your righteousness like a light, and your judgment like the noonday. Rest in the Lord, wait patiently, fret not thyself again, because of him who prosper in the way, and because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Just go ahead and just trust in the Lord. We talk about that more again later. So, what causes stress now? Some of that I've intimated at. What causes stress, firstly? There's different causes of stress that we all deal with. And some of it is anger. Some of it, that anger could be justified anger, or some of it could be unjustified anger. But anger is one source of stress. This is something that you have to deal with in your own personal self. It is something you have to exercise. When anger comes, most of the time it can catch us off guard. In other words, something happened and immediately your indignation, your just frustration, whatever it is, comes about. So anger comes, and it's something that it takes mastery to deal with anger. Then talk about there's different type of sin, and there's a sin that's sin of passion, where a person gets so angry they kill somebody, or they do hit somebody, or they do something that somebody will say, oh, that's out of character for John. John is not like that. And that might be true, but that's something that John has to deal with in himself, and watch himself when he start getting upset. You practice this in simple ways. You're in the line at the grocery store, somebody cut in front of you. You learn to maintain and just ignore it, even though you feel upset. Somebody said, but isn't that making people get away with it? But partly, yes. And you're doing that so that you learn to deal with the simple ways, the simpler forms of getting upset. Because if you don't practice, when the big thing comes, you just go crazy, go get mad. So sometimes you have to just learn not even to say anything. I've just learned to just not say something. And sometimes I might want to say something, but I just learn. And very rarely, if 10 occurrences happen in probably even one, I'll say. And what it does, it not make per se somebody get away, just making you learn to deal with that spontaneous outburst, or that spontaneous elevation of the blood pressure, the heat in your body, the heart rate going up, the pulse goes up, everything goes up, and the hormones start pumping. And when you learn to just let it go, One of the ways you practice this also that is simpler when you deal with stress is when you're driving and somebody give you a bad drive. They cut you off, they do something to you, and then they take it to the next level, and they might cut you off, and then they go right ahead and start getting angry with you for cutting you off. It can get very strange, and so you practice. This is my opportunity to do self-control. And you literally practice that. And you just say, I'm not going to look at the person. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to act as if they didn't do anything wrong. And then you just keep going about your way. And you do this over and over again. After a while, you become better at it. And you're going to find that when that type of anger come, and it's going to elevate your fight or flight hormones, and your adrenaline is going to get pumped, you learn to sedate yourself. It doesn't mean you think the person did right. It just simply means you take the opportunity. This is the opportunity right now to put into practice what I was told on Revive Reform Radio. Whatever I'm saying to you here, practice it, and trust me, as you practice it, you'll be impressed how much self-control you can exhibit in a short amount of time. When I mean short, I mean you don't have a lot of leeway. You don't have a lot of lead time to think about it. You see, the other ways that you deal with anger is when somebody says something you need to, you're going to run into them. You're going to come upon them at somewhere. Some situation going to come and you're going to run into that person. You knew this person said something, and you really want to give the person a piece of your mind. Part of exercising self-control is just learning just to not say anything and to hold your peace. Somebody said, well, is that making a person get away? Yeah, sometimes they're getting away, but you're not doing it for them per se. You're doing it for yourself. You're dealing with this thing of anger in yourself, and you're exercising self-control. There's no other way to do it but to practice it. And so I could tell you all kind of stuff that I'm gonna tell you in this talk here. So stick with me. But the only way to practice control over anger is actually to practice it, and the only way to practice it is when it gets real. We could talk all day about this until you get in a situation where you are definitely being wronged. There's no question about it. You're being wronged. Somebody's doing you wrong. That's the only way to practice it. And as I'm saying to you, life comes at you like that. And because life comes like that, the only thing you can do is actually just go into mode and say, hey, I'm going to practice this right now. I'm going to exercise some self-control. And so anger is something that it is a good way to exercise it. Good way to exercise it. And, again, you're in a conversation with somebody close to you, and they say something that is not right, or they did something that's not right. And that's when now, it's time to practice. And you go into practice, and the more you practice is the better you are of not being angry. When somebody says something to you disrespectful, or say something to you that could embarrass you, or probably have embarrassed you or disrespected you, that's the best time to practice it. What you will learn now, I'll say this. What you will learn is that you will learn, how to not be so thin-skinned. That's all you're learning. You're learning how to make stuff slide off you and not so be easily controlled by your emotions. And that's the big thing that you're going to learn. And most of this, when we talk about stress control, we will talk about some natural remedies. But most of this is behavioral and mental. It's how you process stuff. There's a point where you gotta tranquilize yourself. In other words, and the only way, as I say, to tranquilize yourself is naturally, even without drugs and herbs and everything like that, is to learn to tranquilize yourself, to go numb. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It just means that you're trying to get a hold of yourself. And the only time, as I say, is when things get tough. When somebody says something to you that is so painful, or did something to you that you don't, oh man, this is just so wrong what they did. And now it's time to practice. And the more you practice, you will be amazed at the power of, the will. Where you just like, I'm not going to give in to this, and you won't, even at the spur of the moment when you don't expect somebody to hit you upside your head, and they hit you upside your head, you maintain your peace. Because what it is you're doing, you're learning to get thick-skinned and learning not to be destroyed, by people somebody ridiculing you, just trying to make a fool of you. And you just learn to hold yourself together. And when you do this, you deal with one of the sources of stress. Another source of stress is frustration. Very important again, here where practice comes in. When you're in a frustrating situation, these are again some of the big ones. Whatever frustrating you, whether it be something on a larger scale because there's something going on in the nation, or whether it be something going on a smaller scale that has to do with something that you're working on. So you're working on something and it keep breaking, and it keep breaking, and it keep breaking, and it doesn't stop, and it's making you mad. You're working on something, you hit yourself with the tool that you're using, and it probably cut, and just make you mad as ever. And you learn to practice again, holding your peace. Don't start, or if you scream a little bit. And what it does is that it helps you to learn to deal with setbacks. It helps you to exercise patience, because patience is needed when there's a lot of frustration. And as you know, in the society right now, this is where a lot of our stress is coming from. Anger and frustration. Because there's people right now that are going to have to deal with the government because of some disaster relief, deal with insurance company because of some disaster insurance from some of the disasters. And when you're dealing with others, they're comfortable, and you might not be comfortable, or you definitely not comfortable. And you're trying to get whatever you can get together so that you can get your help, so you can be comfortable. And so this leads to a lot of frustration. If you're trying to fix something, well, your time is not their time. Your time is right now. Their time is whenever they get to it. This can lead to a lot of frustration. Working on anything that is broken and you're trying to fix, this will lead to a lot of frustration. And so in this type of experience, it's important for you to exercise again. Exercise. And as you exercise, practicing patience, tolerance, what it simply does, it benefits you. It enhances you. It enhances what you're doing and what you're all about. And that's what we want to deal with. We have to deal with our internal, our world, so to speak, and our world is ourselves. We only can affect directly what we do. We can't affect what others do. And that's part of the thing, is the frustration of feeling helpless and feeling I can't fix this problem. Well, the only thing I can fix is my attitude and my mindset and my mental state. That's the only thing I can deal with. I can do what I put in my mouth, what I put in my ears, what I think. That's what I can affect. The rest of it, you realize we're powerless. You can't really even affect your children. Many times, a person might make all the effort to bring their child up in the best way they possibly can, and the child will make you be angry and frustrated. And you can't do much about that to a certain degree because the person has their own mind. So when you recognize the best thing I can fix is me. I can't fix another person. And the moment you start realizing that, then you start to deal with a lot of your anger and frustration, because you realize that you have to react at times. As I said, there's a situation that will come upon you that if a person is physically coming after you, you might have to, or definitely have to do something about it. But most of the time, life is not coming at you like that. Most of your frustration is somebody saying or doing something that's not necessarily going to cause you bodily harm. And your reaction is still to react. If you're forced to say something, you're still to say, but you want to say under control. And so it's important to deal with this type of stuff and start to practice it. If you have a project you need to work on today and it's frustrating, today you say, okay, it's not so much I'm going to work on the project, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to go ahead and just do this project and go through it and try to get through the whole project without getting angry or exhibiting my frustration, and just go through it patiently. And as you do that, you realize it's less about the project and the activity, and it's more about you. And that's every aspect of life. It's about you, because again, you're the only constant in your life. Everything else is a variable. Children are variable. Spouse is variable, are changeable. Your job is changeable, variable. Everything is variable. One thing is not variable is you. You are always with you. and you can only deal with you. And so all the stuff that's going on in life, as you realize, you can't stop the tornadoes from coming, or the hurricane, or the earthquake, or the violent men, or the murderers and rapists and all these people. You can't really do anything about that, because that's them. They're doing what they do, and things do what it does. But what you can do is deal with how you respond and how you exist in this world. Unresolved problems is another source of trouble. So again, when you have unresolved problems, the question is, what do you do with this unresolved? You still have to live, you still have to exist, you still have to be you. You just do you while the problem's going on. And now it's nagging, and it's in the back of your mind. I have these 5 things I need to do, and I didn't get them done, and I'm having problem resolving them. But you still have to live, you still have to eat, breathe, and do your thing. So what it is, you learn that no matter what's happening, you still have your peace that passeth all understanding. You still have the joy of the Lord, no matter what's going on in this life. And that's what and how you exist. And as long as you exist like this, your problems will be minimized in a sense of how they affect you mentally and your happiness. A lawsuit could come your way, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's just the reality. And you just have to just go through the process. So how do you go through the process? If you can go through the process and you don't get no gray hairs on your head, if your hair doesn't go gray, well, whether you win or lose, it matters, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't destroy you, because sometimes people are doing this type of stuff to you. Say you're not guilty. They're doing this to destroy you. But it doesn't. No matter what happened. Negative work environment is a thing that can be very stressful. So you apply the same principle. Working overtime, night shift can stress you out. So we'll deal with some things to do to deal with that and to deal with the stresses of life. Trying to get rich or poverty, both can be very stressful. A person trying to get rich, stress himself out or to maintain riches, it becomes just a all-encompassing desire. So something like that, you just have to deal with it. Poverty can be very stressful, because it just adds a layer of stress to life that is already stressful, period. Life comes with stress, come what may. Being poor will just add to it. Deep poverty. Family problems, especially abuse, can be stressful. And again, when you're in it, you try to get out of it, and then you try to keep it behind you and out of your thinking. That's just what it is. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is escape your family and keep them at length. Further away, the better it is many times. Disease, sickness is a source of stress, separately from the fact that you have to fight the disease. The disease itself creates mental stress in your life. Because again, it's going to create not only physical stress in your body because it's overworking your immune system, but also the stress that comes from having to always deal with this nagging problem. So all these things, what we talk about here, will work no matter what the source of stress. Hopelessness. So this is what we do, Revive Reform. We want to give you some hope, and we want to give you some solutions so that you can solve life's problem. So that you, whether it be health problem, social problem, spiritual problem, whatever it is, you don't want to live a life where you feel hopeless and feel like you want to kill yourself. The person want to end it because they feel like they're not going nowhere. Fear for what is coming up on the earth. Fear for what's coming up on the earth. We see the increasing disasters. We see how violent men are. And when you think about that, that can stress you out. When we see the level of violence that are going on, where people are just killing people by the numbers, by single and double digit and triple digit. When you see this type of stuff, you realize, wait a minute, it's not good. And so if more is to come and it's getting worse, and people keep outdoing each other, it's like a game. And I really believe it. You have people with a certain mindset, and they see somebody do something and they say, well, if he do 20, I want to do 30. How can I do 30? And if somebody do 50 or 60, there's somebody is thinking, I must can outdo that person. I must can do 100. Let's see how we do this. So because of this, and you people are seeing this type of reality and seeing the disasters getting out of hand, and some people saying we're getting closer to the end. I believe more is more to do with sin. Others believe that it's climate change. Well, the climate can be affecting people's brain. why people are so vicious in these days. Well, whatever reason it is, from all these various different sources or assumptions, we come to the conclusion that people want to get more violent or doing more weird stuff, more weirdos in the society. So fear for what's coming upon the earth can make you be fearful. So again, your internal world, which is your brain and your body, is what you want to get into balance and into control. And when you apply these principles, you find that you will be able to deal with life in a more happy and calm and mellow way. Also, feeling of being lost, a person can feel like they're lost, whether they're even Christian or not Christian. Just feeling like I'm hopeless, I'm lost, I don't know what I'm here for, I don't know what this world life is about. And that could be a person in the church or out of the church. This can lead to chronic stress. What now stress can do to you? A lot of the diseases that we see involved, some of the new type of diseases, are almost all linked to stress. And so when you understand this, you understand why some of what I'm saying here, as I pepper some of this stuff here with solutions, is important. You know, heart disease is something that can be caused by stress. It's just we know that there's a connection, a special connection between the heart and the brain. Many of the sensory or our sensory hormones and stuff like that that are in the brain is in the heart also. And this makes sense because, as you know, the organ that is affected primarily by our brain is our heart. It has to, more than any other organ. And the reason for this, as you know, is that the moment you have a thought, your brain will, moment you have a thought, the heart will readjust your body based upon what is needed. So if you have a feeling of peace, your heart relaxes. If you have a feeling of fright, your heart starts to pump real hard. If you have a feeling like there's terror and you need to run and scream, your heart just kicks into motion immediately. It does not wait. It just goes into motion because it receives the impulse real quick and it knows readjust. And this is literally, if you know, normally, as I say, you get frightened because a car almost run you over. You didn't get run over, you didn't die, so you registered, and the moment it happened, your whole body just clam up and your heart just start pounding, and you will get all the adrenal, all the fight and flight hormones will be right there available. This is only possible if your heart just start just hammering away at your blood vessels to flow all that stuff through your body. So even if your brain says release all those hormones and all the type of adrenal everything from your brain of different glands, it wouldn't really work if the heart wouldn't like circulate real fast. Anyhow, so heart is normally affected. This is why I say to you, the spontaneous response is what is important, because when you get that spontaneous response, you can feel you can even smell the hormones in your sweat, because the body just dump a lot of those hormones and you can actually smell it. You can feel your sweat glands and your lymphatic system just kicking right there in your armpit, in your groin area. A lot of our lymph nodes are around our stomach, and you can feel that when they say you have that butterfly in your belly, is the immediate system clicking. So this is why I say in the beginning here that it's important that when you're practicing stress management, it's important that you practice on the situations that are more controllable. See, you can practice self-control and stress management. As I said, if somebody cut in the line before you, I'd say the supermarket. That's a primary school type of practice, a playground practice. You're easier to practice it there than it is if a car is coming at you. You know, it's easier because something coming at you, it's like you're just going to go into total panic mode, and you could go into worse panic mode than you ought to and end up getting more hurt. What am I saying here? You think about it, how many times you've heard stories of people who were drunk in a terrible car accident and they live. And sometimes they postulate that why they live is that they're not as stressed out. So they don't come up and they're able to move to a certain degree or relax and kind of go with the flow of the accident. And this might not be 100% true. Somebody might say there's science and statistics that prove otherwise. But I'm sure you've heard the story just as an illustration here. Now, why that is so important to me is because sometimes when things are going down and if a person frees up, because they're so used to panicking and overreacting, that if they freeze up, they can't move. And if they can't move, they can't readjust. So say a car is coming your way, and because you're just so much of a person that just goes berserk and go crazy and clamp up and just don't move. Instead of moving at the last moment and getting out of the way, the person just panic and just freeze. And then that's it. But many times, things happen and it's at the last moment you can escape. So what it is important for you to understand this and understand you practice that so that when the hormones kick in and your heart kick in, you're able to react. And this is why even when it comes on to military and certain things, you don't get good at it unless you experience the live thing. It has to be real. Because if you never get the real thing, then you're just training. You're forever in training. But it has to be real. So that's why I say to you, you have to be able to deal with the situation when it happens to you in the real. Else you'll never be as successful. And so this is why our experience here as Christians are real experiences. So the heart works. Art is affected by the disease, by stress. Then I'll list some things really quickly here for the sake of time. Chronic fatigue, anxiety attack. Anxiety attack, as I say, we have to deal with it on a natural basis. We talk about that in a second. With diet and lifestyle practices. But anxiety attack, mood swings. So a person could have mood swings and they have to deal with it both socially, hormonally. More on that in a second. Psychological distress, depression, right? Could be caused by stress. You're so stressed out that you just go into a deep depression. Stress is too much and too long. Sleep problem. It could cause sleep problem, but sleep problem could be a cause of it. I'll get back. High blood pressure, eating disorder, peptic ulcers, person stressed out and they're damaging the digestive tract. Poor immune function. I'll get back to that in a second. Chronic pain, colds, oxidative damage to the brain, neurons, flu, viruses, headache, migraine, alcoholism, smoke-related respiratory ailments. So let's take some things here now that we should do. If you're always stressed out, then you're always in what they call a fight or flight mode. And so that's why when I'm talking about deal with your anger, deal with frustration, it's important to let things go. Because if you're always stressed out, you're in a fight and flight mode. So when you're in a fight and flight mode, you're going to overwork the pituitary glands, the adrenal glands. You're going to overwork your thyroid because often you probably stay up at night and deal with the stress. And then after a while, your body's rhythm is going to get thrown off. So this is where you're just simply trying to exercise these things I'm telling you and do some of the things I'm going to talk about that will regain balance in your life and make it that your stress gets reduced. Because if your adrenal glands, which all the different hormones, no matter what they are, if they're too much in the bloodstream, after a while they cause damage themselves. Also, when you need to deal with a stressful event, you will be tapped out, you will be emptied out. So you're already existing as a stress. So let's imagine if you take a bad scenario here, but you take something where you have a death in the family, as an example here. And you need now to be firing, all your hormones need to be firing to keep you going. And you already were functioning as if you have a death in the family because you're always so stressed out unnecessarily. So when now the real hit happens now where you're really experiencing it in the family, you just collapse. It's just overwhelmed because you already were existing as if you were going through a disaster, but there was no disaster. Take again a person going through a situation where their house got destroyed. But the day before and the weeks before their house got destroyed, they were living as if their house got destroyed. Their behavior, their psychology, the way they function from day to day is just always stressed out, always angry and mad and worried about stuff. And now they get something to worry about, it just basically collapse. It's just too much. So this is why stress management is important. This is why it's important to do everything you can in an easy way to just be at peace. Because when you do this, what it is that when now the stress comes, you're able to kick it up a notch. Because sometimes you have no choice over it. As I said, there's some stress that comes so fast and so hard that you hardly have time to process. And if you're already stressed out, you just go crazy. You probably just lay on the floor and start having a seizure. And you've seen people do that. They start foaming at the mouth if somebody says something to them bad. And I'm thinking, if that's what you're foaming at the mouth of, what happened if your child die? What happened if your house get burnt down? What happened if there's a earthquake or a gun violence or whatever? Your head gonna pop. You're gonna have a stroke. So you want to be able to deal with this. One of the things that is important again when it comes on to stress management is to make sure that you have a very good diet that is filled with antioxidants. So what we're talking about here is that antioxidants are they deal with oxidants, and whether the oxidants are things that damages the cells that are basically either chemicals or, as I say, being in a stressful situation, you burn heavy when you're in a stressful situation. So like smoking is an oxidant. The smoke basically, it damages the cell. This is why you can look at a person that smokes cigarette and they look burnt out, because they're literally burning themselves out. If they're preserving themselves and they're still alive, because you normally smoke stuff like meat to preserve it. So they're preserving their organs, I guess, for the grave. So when you look at that, you know that says they're damaging themselves because it is poisoning them. That's another way to look at it. Accidents are things that basically poison you, in layman's term, I guess. So when you're in that situation and you're already a person that smoke, notice people that smoke, they look stressed, just relaxed. They look stressed. So if stress come upon them, what do? Go for cocaine? Because cocaine is the upper, but they go for something else that's gonna take them down and calm them down, some Valium. And this is where that problem comes in. So you don't want to have things in your life that is already stressing your system and your brain out, because when the stress does come because of whatever thing that's happening in your life or in the society, you're not able to deal with it. So you want a diet, you want a lifestyle that is removing and decreasing the amount of oxidants that you get near you and around you, so that when you need to deal with stress, and your body go on what I call a high burn. And what I mean a high burn is exercise could be a stressor in the body, because the body is burning through oxygen fast. The oxygen causes a combustibility in the cells and it burns them out. They die off faster. Going through a fight or flight mode. So you're somewhere and an alarm goes off. You have to run out and your heart is pounding and you're running for your life. That's a stressful situation. So you want to be able to not live a lifestyle where you're always in stress, because when the stress comes, you're going to be burnt out. So stress creates an eye burn in whatever way. So you want to reduce things like coffee. When we remove coffee, remove smoking, remove the dead animals out of your diet. Remove anything that's a poison. Eat more natural organic foods. You remove the pesticides and the herbicides out of your diet. Anything that will poison your system and weaken your body, you remove it. Then you add a high antioxidant. You put high antioxidant foods in your body. So your broccoli, your berries, whether it be strawberry, blueberry, raspberry. You put kale, collard greens. You put any type of food source that is high in color. So the higher the color, the better it is. So corn, edamame, carrots, organic most naturally, beets, organic most naturally, especially I always say organic, especially for lettuce, leafy vegetables and root food, anything that is grown in the ground that absorb up a lot of the whatever is in the ground, because the pesticide might be sprayed on the top of the soil, but it will seep right into the soil itself. Same thing with fertilizer and stuff. So you add things with color, eggplants, anything that with high color, you add that to the diet. It will add antioxidant. It will help your body deal with stress, because what an antioxidant does, it takes the hit for the cell. So instead of the poison getting the system and damage the cell, it damages the antioxidant. It absorbs the hit. Two of them die together and it clears the poison out of the system. When you go on a stressful situation, a fight or flight mode, because somebody says something to you and now you probably are forced to respond, and you get all stressed out and angry, what it is, your body starts to burn and you start to use up a lot of stored chemicals like your hormones and stuff, and they have to be replenished. What it is, the antioxidant will help them replenish real fast. So that's important to note. And then what that will do is will help you with things like anxiety attack, because we get that anxiety attack, you're anxious for something and your body will have stores so that you don't lose it. In that type of situation, you have to deal with situations that are depressed motivating. So depression motivating situation, that means you pull yourself away from people that are stressful, and also you do better, you choose better, so that you don't make yourself become depressed or guilty. You remove activities in your life that creates a lot of guilt. When you do this, you will help yourself much with anxiety. Another important thing to do is to get sleep. You get sleep by going to bed as early as you possible can, and you get sleep. And when you go to bed, you make sure that you stay in bed, turn the lights off, and if you can't sleep, just stay in bed. And if it takes you 5 hours to sleep, just stay in bed. Now, say you take you 5 hours to sleep, and you went to bed 10 o'clock, and now 3 o'clock you fell asleep, and you have to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, or 6:30 or whatever you wake up. You woke up 6 o'clock, and now you only got 3 hours sleep. How to fix that problem is that now when you wake up at 6 o'clock, you never go back to sleep or take a nap, and you stay up straight through the day until 10 o'clock again. And you go to sleep 10 o'clock, and you do this. So you do this for about 2 weeks. You fall asleep at 10. The solution to that problem is to not go back to sleep, not take a nap. And you find you stay up from 6 until 10, and you do this for about 2 weeks. You'll figure it out with 1 or 2 more things I'm going to tell you what to do herbal wise to try to help you out. So make sure in your stress management that you sleep at night. The troubles of life often will rob us of sleep, because you could stay up all night worried about stuff that you can't do anything about. Life is going to come at you. As I say, whatever is going to happen today is going to happen today. You're here listening to me today, but you don't know what will happen for the rest of the day. It might go according to plan, or it might not go according to plan. So hence, because of that, you just give it all to Jesus and you go get sleep. Now, important things to do to deal with stress management is to make sure that you're drinking enough water. I'm sure you've been in a situation that you feel stressed out and all of a sudden you feel thirsty. And so often, because you have an elevated temperature, and also your pulse is increased, your heart rate is gone up. It might not be gone up significantly, but it's gone up enough that probably you're not even noticing it, but your body's running a little bit hotter because you're getting hot. You ever hear somebody says, "Oh, I got so hot." They're literally getting hot because the pressure is rising, the hormones are pumping, and they're getting heated up. So what you do, you drink some water and quench that thirst, because you're burning, you're exhausted, you're breathing heavier, so you're getting more water out of your lungs. You're sweating more, you just perspiring more, I should say, but it's just you're not feeling it. And so you even feel it sometimes because you feel clammy. You just have that wet feel where you feel clammy all over your body because you're getting hot. So what you do, you need to drink water. You need to satisfy that thirst. and water helps make the water is the thing that you fire your electronic signals in your nervous system through. They're water gates, so you got to keep them hydrated so that you can flow faster, because I say sometimes in a situation where it's just long term, and that's what will happen. Some of the things you have to do is take some herbs now. I would say, firstly, for circulation, because they say circulation is one of the first things that's going to be affected, because that's where your hormones flow. So they have to be released, and so you want to get your what hydrated. But secondly, here I'm going to give you two now herbs. One would be hawthorn. Hawthorn. Hawthorn berry is a herbal remedy that you take to keep your heart healthy beating, and to keep your heart having a good steady healthy beat, and keep you flowing properly. It is good for the heart. So you want to take a herb like that to basically keep you flowing properly and keep you nice and healthy, so that you can deal with the stresses of life. And these stresses is nothing you can do about. Sometimes it just come, and it is what it is. So hawthorn berry is one thing. Another herb that is important is motherwort. Mother as in your parent. Worth, a wort, WORT. This herb help your body, help your heart beat steady, at a steady beat, a consistent beat. This is important for people who have things like angina. Important for people who have things like anxiety attack. You want to help your heart to keep a constant beat, a constant rhythm, no matter what's going on. Also, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is very important for circulation. So you want to keep your heart constantly circulating. Another important, which would be vitamin, probably not another important, but the important vitamin for stress and anything to do with anxiety, stress, angina, heart, is magnesium. It is said that 60 to 80% of people are allergic to, not allergic, but deficient in magnesium. So 60 to 80%. Probably what I believe is more like probably 80%. I remember you've heard back in the past, and many people talk about this idea that the soil that we have is depleted. It's partly the soil is depleted, why so many people are deficient in nutrients, especially, as I say, some of our main vitamins and minerals. And I think I'm talking about a mineral here. So when you think about your deficiency that's happening with vitamins and minerals, and how most of the time, most of the foods that we eat are coming from soil that have been growing the same thing over and over again. So because of that, most of us are deficient because of that reason, because they'll be growing corn on the same field like for 20, 30 years. And what they'll do, they'll put chemical vitamins, or even if they do natural, organic growing, the same plant is going to be there, same place all the time. Now, in the Bible, Lord has a rule that is still important today. It's not practiced much, but it's still important. And is that the crops were supposed to be rotated, and the land was supposed to lay, not being worked for a year. What would happen in that year? 1 year for every 7 years of growing. So at the 6th year, they stop growing in the Bible, and they will leave the land sit. The land will sit for a year. It will naturally do its own thing, replenish itself, and then you start again. Also, they would rotate the crop so that one crop wouldn't be on the same property year in, year out, because some crops pull one nutrients than the other. You get a vitamin A in a carrot, but selenium also is being pulled. Other minerals are being pulled. So if the soil is just keep pulling that mineral, or the crop pulling that mineral from the soil is going to get deficient. So one of the most important things you can do for yourself, and you need to test this out, is to increase magnesium in your diet. And the two sources of ways you can increase magnesium in diet is to increase, like, the food source. One of those food source is pumpkin seed. There's other seeds that have magnesium in high amount, but pumpkin seed is one of the best ways to increase magnesium dietarily. The other way is by supplementation. Magnesium supplementation, primarily in the form of magnesium glycinate. Magnesium glycinate is very good for anxiety attacks. So when you have an anxiety attack, or a person who's have regular anxiety attack or anxiety or under much stress, magnesium glycinate is the first supplement that I would suggest. Secondarily, I would suggest magnesium malate and magnesium malate, because each of our bodies work different with magnesium. It sometimes can cause a diarrhea or type of diarrhea, so loose stool. So magnesium malate, and then the third on that list would be magnesium citrate, magnesium citrate or citrate, however you pronounce that. Well, those three, but on top of the list there, if you have in specifically angina, anxiety attack, rapid heart rate, easily stressed out, magnesium glycinate, secondarily magnesium malate. All these magnesium is a combination of some type of combination, where they do in a lab, where they combine some of the chemical. And the malate is good if you're having cramps and also having stress. It will help with that. But magnesium glycinate, malate, and then citrate. So number one, you go and try first the glycinate to reduce your anxiety attack, or help you with anxiety attack. And many people who are deficient will get solution from that. But actually, recently I had a testimony where I suggested last month somebody to try magnesium glycinate and also the malate, and they got results within short time after using it, and they've not had an anxiety attack since. So this has been a good source. I remember again, the deficiency in the soil is part of the reason why this happened. So try supplementation. So stress, if you have a problem with stress, again, you want to take any type of a digestive enzyme like papain or bromelain. You want to help out with your digestive enzymes, to help your body break down the food you're eating. You want to increase your citric acid. So lemon juice, orange juice, grapefruit juice, fresh, if you can, organic, natural as possible, to help your body break down any type of problems you're having in your stomach, because you could be having stomach disorder. This will help you because you can process better. If you have food that's not being digested, when you have stress, it makes it worse for you. You want to be able to take some things to deal with building up your immune system. So some golden seal to help your body again not get clogged up. It help clear out the mucus, so your body can have better flow. Echinacea to make your immune system keep pumping, and it will feed the immune system. Garlic to feed the immune system. Onion to feed the immune system, so that you build the immune system up, so that it can fight off the stress, and so you don't get a cold or get sick or get a flu because you're under stress. You want to be able to take some pardarca in a bark as a herbal remedy to build up your immune system. Some elderberry to build your immune system up. Also, you want to do some herbal remedies to deal with pain or inflammation. So boswellia, very good to deal with pain and inflammation. You take some boswellia, it takes down the inflammation. Some white willow bark, herbal remedy, take down the inflammation, so that you can have better flow also. White willow bark is the forerunner for aspirin. So when people have a migraine because they're under stress, you want to be able to take some of that, and it will help ease the pain and also help you with the circulation. Ginger tea is important. You take some ginger tea. Ginger tea will help you again with digestion. It will help you with circulation. This can be used in conjunction with chamomile. Chamomile is good to relax you, especially in the evening, so that you can relax when you're dealing with these type of stress. So you get your ginger good for digestion, good for circulation. You get that with you blend that with some chamomile, and you drink that, and you're on your way to a better stress-free lifestyle. Two more herbs before I go to these last two herbs here. I'll say, so remember, you have to deal with lifestyle changes. Without lifestyle changes, you're not going to be able to get where you need to go when it comes on to overcoming stress. When it comes on to dealing with situation that flares up. If your body's in a fight or flight mode, you have to address that in times of peace. So lifestyle changes is important. Whatever it is in your life that causes you stress, you have to figure out how to face it And if you can face it, for now you try to avoid it and try to practice some of these stress management principles that I'm telling you here. Remember, a dietary change, you need a diet that is rich in antioxidant. You need a diet that is rich in things that I'm talking about here. So that means turmeric in your diet. You use turmeric to cook with. You supplement with turmeric. It's just part of your diet. You use ginger to cook with. You use ginger to make ginger beer. Fastest way I can make a ginger beer is I take the ginger, throw it in the blender. I get some water, pour in there, and I blend it up. I strain it off. I add some lemon juice, and I add some brown sugar. You make ginger beer. If you want to limit the amount of brown sugar you use, you get some stevia, and you do a little bit of stevia with a little bit of brown sugar, and you make a nice ginger beer. You chill it and then you drink it. What that will do, it'll give you more nutrients faster, and it become part of your diet. It become part of your lifestyle. And so you make sure that you make your diet and lifestyle as natural and as full of nutrients as possible. Exercise is a very important thing to be able to overcome stress, because when you exercise and you put your body on the stress, but it makes your brain and your body be able to deal with the physical stress, and it toughens you up for stress. Learn to have times of relaxation. Most usually for me, I encourage you from the Bible to seek to have a Sabbath day where you just spend time in spirituality, singing, praying, hearing the word of God, fellowshipping with the brethren, eating good, healthy food once a week. I encourage that. That is part of a therapy. I believe it is good therapy that God created for man, not just for the blessings of man, but everyone needs a Sabbath day rest where you just get to have positive, uplifting messages and true messages, because sometimes you could hear messages that probably even make you feel stressed, but it's stress, good stress. It makes you deal with your problems. So relaxation, of time where you spend time in nature, of time you spend away from crazy people, and you just spend in peaceful environment, enjoy some outdoors, enjoy nature, and it's also it's important for you to learn to avoid to tap into the or to feed into the negativity of those that are afflicted. You know, people who are afflicted by troubles normally come in negative vibes, and their negative vibes and negative emotions, they spill it on you because they could sort of talk and behave a certain way. So learn to detox from people as much as you can. Sometimes you have to do it for your job and for your dealing with your family, where people with negativity just come and their darkness just come and they spread the darkness to you. Important that you have faith, you study the Bible, you pray, you love others, and trust in God that God will bless you. Two other herbs that I want to talk about real quickly here as we're running out of time is another herb is St. John's wort, St. John's wort, WORT, and it's called Hypericum. Hypericum is taken by millions the world over to relieve depression and has antibacterial properties, antiviral, pain relieving property. As a matter of fact, St. John's wort is one of the best herbs for teeth pain. If your teeth or tooth is hurting you, this is the herb to use. You put it in your gum and you make it stay there, and it'll relieve nerve pain. It is used to treat chronic fatigue syndrome, Lyme's disease, insomnia, and many other major ailments. The herb acts as a tonic for the nervous system and can be used for nervous exhaustion, long-term anxiety, sleep difficulty, as well as depression. It may be helpful in treating addiction. So Hypericum there, St. John's wort, number one there. If you're stressed out and you're under a lot of stress, you need to have it in your diet on a daily basis as a supplement. Holy basil is one of the big ones that I use. This is help you to adapt to stress before the stress comes. It will make your body readjust and your brain readjust easier to stress. It is adaptogen. It does make you adapt to whatever stressful situation you're under. Antibacterial, antidepressant, antioxidant, antiviral, calmative. It calms you down. And also it is used as oil basil prevent the increase in corticosterones levels that indicate elevated stress. It protects the heart from stress and lower blood pressure and cholesterol. Holy basil is an adaptogen. It is helpful. It helps the body to adapt to varying demands of stress. And as you know, as I do sell herbal remedies. If you need any of these things in a formula that will already work, I have them here for you. You can always contact me. So deal with stress on multiple level: lifestyle choices, supplementation, your diet, the way you handle stress in the situation, to me, is one of the biggest ways you deal with stress. So you learn to readjust. And if you do all these things, I'm guarantee you will find that your stress level will reduce and you'll have more peace in your life. And this is what we all need. Let us pray. We thank you, Lord, again for your love towards us and the blessings that you continue to bestow in our lives. May you be with us and bless us as we walk humbly before thee. May you help us, dear Lord, and give us thy spirit that we might have the peace that passeth all understanding. May you bless us, we pray, for the rest of this day, for Christ's sake. Amen. Thanks again for being with me on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow morning, where we should talk, or will talk about current events. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.